There's a lot of things happening in the business, travel and meetings industry at the moment, particularly with respect to travel and meeting spend, with companies trying to rationalise both. And I'm talking to a man who has the finger on the pulse of that particular issue, and that's Roland from Lanyon. Roland, we're here in Lanyon's offices in Tame, just outside of London. There are some key issues sort of facing the travel and meetings industry at the moment. Just tell us your perspective on them.
Well, I think business travel is one of the market segments that's still sustaining. There's still momentum in business travel, and that's a really good sign for us as an industry. But then you look at what the knock-on effects are, and as business travel is still going, and it's still going strong and it's growing, why are people traveling? Well, they're meeting people. They're meeting internally, they're having small meetings, they're having big meetings. The art of communication and face-to-face meetings is still there, and it's still the element that closes sales, it closes deals, and it creates relationship. So what we're looking at is now, well, what is happening with business travel and spend in corporations? Well, they don't know. I think there was a recent survey that said 26% of all corporations don't really know how much they are spending on meetings. And if you look at it, it's very isolated. You've got transient over here, and you've got meetings over here, and then you've got this thing in the middle, which is small meetings and projects that no one's tracking. And so we're looking at ways that we can bring all that stuff together so that there's visibility of what actually is happening in a corporation. And with the focus on finance and procurement and return on investment, that's hugely important to every company right now.
So how do you reckon technology can really help with that process?
Technology can do anything you want it to do. It's understanding that process first. And we're driven a lot by not just what the market's doing, but a lot of our customers. We have 750 corporations who are using us for their transient spend right now. And many of those are now saying, well, how can we also get visibility of our meeting spend, of our small meeting spend, of our projects? And technology allows you to, if you can manage that all in one place, then you can get the business intelligence. You can really get some analysis of what's happening. And the most important thing is, if you look at a corporation, if in one platform they can manage and see their spend across all the market segments, they should be leveraging their meeting spend against the relationship they have on a transient basis, against all their small meetings and projects. And so if you've got the visibility and you've got the information, you can then start to optimize that relationship with the rates. Technology, a single platform, is how it works. It can be done.
So what you're saying basically is that Lanyon can do that. So have you got any examples where you've drilled down into that spend and helped corporates save money?
Oh, absolutely. When you look at the meeting spend and you add that to the transient spend, the relationship becomes very different. You're saying to a corporation, will be saying to a hotel, well, hang on a second. Yeah, I want to negotiate these number of room nights with transient spend, but actually, look, this is the amount of business that we have delivered over the last 12 months from a meetings perspective. And we'd like to negotiate a small meetings rate with your hotels. We've just launched a small meetings tool. So now a corporation that is presenting a directory of their preferred hotels to their travelers, they're also now able to indicate on Lanyon a small meetings deal. Because going back to what we were saying earlier, why do you travel? You're traveling to meet people. So if you've already got a meetings deal negotiated with a hotel, great. Show that to the traveller when they're traveling, rather than right now where it's seen as a secondary separate activity. So Lanyon's bringing all of that together. We call it total hospitality. And if you can take all those different elements, manage them on the same platform with all the business intelligence and data that goes with it, then you truly do manage to optimize those relationships with the suppliers.
Sounds really interesting, but from my perspective, looking at it from outside, a couple of questions. First of all, when corporates are looking at technology, and certainly people out there, varying ages, do get a bit scared by it. How easy is this kind of system to use?
I can use it. So yeah, it is very, very easy. And that's the important thing. You've got to build something that is used, because there's no point in building fancy technology if it's too complicated to use. So we very much focus, and we're driven by the travellers, and we're driven by our customers, because building something with low adoption it goes back to what we're saying. If everything is isolated and segmented, you haven't got the value. So you've got to build tools that have high adoption. And we find many of our corporations are now mandating that that their travellers and their users are using the tools, because that's where the value is. If you've got 100% visibility of what you're doing, that's when you get the value. And you've got to do it as simply as possible.
Now, who's paying for all this? Because obviously you've got to make money, and there's got to be an element in there where the money's been circulating, this whole system's being paid for. Where's it coming from? So how is this system, sort of benefiting the travel and meetings planner, but also benefiting the suppliers like destinations, venues, and hotels?
It's a very difficult balance, because we have customers as buyers, we have customers as suppliers, but we've created an ecosystem. And when you've got people acting and interacting online in real time, there's a huge amount of value on both sides. The visibility of the relationship, the visibility of the information, the business intelligence, that is what creates value. And we find that the meeting planners can optimize the rate. They truly can get value to match exactly what their requirements are. But we're also finding at the same time the suppliers are seeing optimum return, because there's a lot more relationships open to them. There's opportunities open to them with relationships they may not have had before. So creating an ecosystem where everybody's interacting, it does create value on both sides.
Fantastic. And sort of going forward, what's the plan for Lanyon over the next sort of few months, couple of years?
Well, we've just launched the small meetings module to our transient business, and we're now also looking at the business intelligence of the strategic meetings. We've built our own strategic meetings sourcing tool. It's being used by many corporations right now. But we're also, we don't believe in just build everything and they'll come. Lanyon's approach has been there's a lot of other good companies out there. So we've built partnerships with attendee management systems, for example. And over the course of the next 12 months, we're going to continue with the growth. As I said, we're just shy of 1,000 corporations that are using us right now. But we're focusing very much on the business intelligence tools. And the next step is not just to create business intelligence, reporting databases. There's so many of them out there. But the important thing is getting access to that data. So one of our major initiatives is to take all that information, and we've got millions of transactions that are going on in our marketplace right now. But finding a way to present that to the decision makers, to the buyers and the travelers, at the point that they're making their decisions, at the point they're making their buying decisions. So they really can use it in an intuitive and simple way. That's the main focus.
Roland, that's fascinating. Thanks for talking to me.
Great, thanks very much.